Welcome back to Alia Aesthetic Studio, your peaceful sanctuary for all things beautiful, natural, and evergreen. Today, we're diving into a blooming dream. 13 breathtaking perennials that flower not once, but multiple times each season. These are the plants that reward your soul, not just your soil, living poetry in your garden. Which of these long-blooming wonders would you love to see dancing in your garden breeze? Let us know softly in the comments. And if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you never miss a moment of beauty and botanical joy. 1. Lavender Blue Bliss Pathway, inspired by Nepeta's gentle blooms along rustic borders. In the early hush of summer mornings, there's a gentle kind of beauty that settles low to the ground, where the sunlight touches the edges of stone paths and the air still carries the cool breath of dawn. Along these borders, Nepeta, often called cat's pajamas, begins to bloom, not with fanfare, but with a whisper of lavender blue flowers that move with the wind like secrets being shared among leaves. Its fragrance isn't loud, but if you stop long enough, you'll catch the soft herbal notes that seem to calm both insects and souls alike. Bees adore it, butterflies rest here, and gardeners, especially those who love without demanding much in return, find in Nepeta a companion, steady, quiet, endlessly giving. It forms neat little mounds as if embracing the earth, tucking itself gently into any space offered. And when the first flush of blooms begins to fade, a simple trim rewards you with more, a quiet encore that carries you into the heart of summer. What makes Nepeta so loved isn't just its appearance, but its nature. It thrives on simplicity. It doesn't ask for rich soil or constant care, just a bit of sun, well-drained ground, and space to grow freely. In the heat, it does not wither. In the chill of spring, it remains. There's a kind of grace in such resilience, a reminder that sometimes the most beautiful things grow from what we almost overlook. Please remember, this isn't a prescription or rulebook. These are simply ideas, shared with warmth and intention. What you do with them, how you bring them to life, is a reflection of your own story and space. Perhaps Nepeta will find a place in your world, or perhaps it will inspire something entirely your own. That's the quiet magic of gardening. 2. Serenity Herb Edge Garden, featuring calming rows of fragrant lavender. There's a stillness that comes over a garden when lavender begins to bloom. It's not silence in the absence of sound, but a hush, the kind that invites you to pause, to breathe, to remember something old and comforting, like a memory tucked away in the folds of sunlight and breeze. Lavender does not compete for attention. It doesn't need to. Its slender violet spikes rise from silvery green leaves like incense rising from ancient temples. The fragrance is unmistakable, herbal, calming, almost sacred. It lingers on your fingertips after a brush past, and follows you softly, long after you've left the garden. This plant teaches patience. It grows where the soil is dry, where the rain is sparse, where deer hesitate to nibble and rabbits turn away. It doesn't bloom all at once. Instead, it gives in waves. The first flush is full of promise. Then, with a simple trim, it returns, often stronger, deeper, fuller. A quiet second act. Lavender is not only for the seasoned gardener. It's for the dreamer who wants to wake up to beauty without worry. For the minimalist who loves simplicity wrapped in elegance. And for the soul who believes in peace as a way of living. It thrives best in sunlight, welcomes dry breezes, and repays the gentlest care with abundance. It's important to note that the vision shared here is not a demand, but an invitation. A gentle offering of what could be. You need not follow every detail to the letter. Only take what resonates, what feels true to you. After all, every garden reflects the heart of the one who tends it, and perhaps, in the hush of your own morning light, lavender will find its place. 3. Cottage Pink Whisper Border, highlighting the vivid colors and spice scent of dianthus. In the tender light of early summer, there are flowers that do not simply bloom, they sing. Dianthus, known more affectionately as pinks, does just that. Its vivid shades of magenta, rose, and candy pink ignite garden borders like brushstrokes from an artist's hand. Each petal is delicately serrated, like lace woven by the wind, and they carry a clove-like scent that lingers gently in the air, stirring memory and mood alike. This is not a flower that demands space. It nestles low, hugging the soil like an old friend. And yet, despite its modest height, it commands attention with a vibrancy that seems to glow under the afternoon sun. Dianthus thrives where the sun is strongest, yet it doesn't fade in the heat. In fact, it flourishes, its small blooms multiplying until the garden seems to pulse with life. And when the first wave begins to soften, a quick cutback revives it, as if it had simply paused for breath. Soon, new buds appear, opening once more in a second act that carries into the cooler evenings of late summer. Its resilience is quiet, but unmistakable. This flower is perfect for those who want their garden to feel alive, spirited, and touched with a bit of wild poetry. It is both practical and beautiful, tolerating dry soil, blooming steadily, and adding texture as much as color. As with all ideas shared in this space, let this be only a suggestion, not a strict recipe. What we share here are whispers, sparks of inspiration meant to guide, not instruct. Take what speaks to your space and spirit. Let the rest drift like petals on the wind. 4. Wild Indigo Summer Spill, capturing the flow of Rozanne geraniums in natural garden paths. There is something deeply comforting about a flower that never seems in a hurry, yet never truly rests. The perennial geranium, especially the beloved Rozanne variety, brings that comfort to a garden. With soft violet-blue petals that seem to glow against the green of their surroundings, these blooms appear early in summer and carry on, gently, steadily, until the first chill of autumn touches the air. Unlike its delicate spring cousins, Rozanne is a tireless spirit. The center of each flower holds a pale white eye, a subtle beacon that draws your gaze like the center of a calm sky. Its leaves are rich, lush, and lightly serrated, offering a backdrop of fullness that makes the blooms even more pronounced. This is a plant for those who want their garden to feel like a soft conversation, unforced, quietly expressive, gently persistent. It doesn't ask for much. A sunny corner or dappled shade, a patch of well-drained soil, and the occasional drink of water. In return, it sprawls and spills, reaching over stones and along paths like memories unfurling. Rozanne doesn't bloom in bursts, but in flow. Its flowers come and come, never all at once, but never truly stopping either. And in this rhythm, it teaches the garden to breathe slowly, to last longer, to hold onto color without needing constant attention. What you do with this idea is entirely your own. Nothing shared here is rigid or required. These are visions, offered like seeds, each one possible, each one real, if it finds the right hands and heart. In your garden, Rozanne might become something entirely unique. That is the quiet wonder of growing something with intention. 5. Stone-kissed color wall garden, bold wallflowers blooming through rock and crevice. There are places in every garden where the eye rarely lingers, stone walls, forgotten corners, the edge where earth meets structure. But sometimes, in those quiet, overlooked spaces, something remarkable takes root. The wallflower, so named not because it shies away, but because it thrives in the most unlikely places, is a celebration of resilience wrapped in color. Imagine golden yellows, warm rusts, and deep purples spilling from cracks in old walls, blooming as if nothing could stop them. Wallflowers don't just grow, they cling, they persist, and in doing so, they beautify the roughest terrain. Their petals seem painted by dusk light, rich, velvety, and somehow glowing, even in shadow. This plant offers a subtle fragrance too, spiced and slightly sweet, carried by wind and memory. And when its first blooms begin to fade, a gentle trim can awaken it again. Another flush, another surprise. It gives more than expected and asks for almost nothing in return. Wallflowers are not just decorative. They are symbols of strength in stillness. For gardeners who find joy in the overlooked or who believe that beauty belongs even in the rough places, this plant is a quiet companion. It grows where others cannot, It thrives in rocky soils, dry walls, and the edges of paths where footsteps seldom fall. As always, the idea offered here is simply a reflection of possibility. You need not recreate it perfectly. Let this story guide you only if it resonates. Every garden is different, and its heart is the gardener. Let your creativity spill beyond the edges. Perhaps, like the wallflower, beauty will rise in places you never thought to look. 6. Golden Sunlight Daisy Walk, the classic charm of Shasta daisies under summer skies. There is a kind of grace that comes from simplicity. Not the loud kind, not the kind that demands to be noticed, but the kind that feels like home. The Shasta daisy, with its crisp white petals and golden centers, embodies this grace. It doesn't whisper. It doesn't shout. It just stands bright, steady, and full of quiet joy. These blooms rise on long, slender stems above a sea of green, swaying gently in the summer breeze like thoughts floating in an open field. They speak of nostalgia, of sun-warmed picket fences, worn garden benches, and the hum of bees weaving through the air. They don't tire easily. They arrive early and, with a thoughtful trim after the first bloom, they return again, fresh as ever, until autumn begins to cool the light. The Shasta daisy is a reminder that beauty doesn't need complexity. That reliability can be poetic. That a single patch of soil, when touched by care and sunlight, can yield something timeless. It grows best in full sun, in well-drained soil that doesn't fuss too much over perfection. It asks for space to stretch and a bit of rain when skies allow. Beyond that, it thrives on presence, the kind of attention that doesn't overwhelm, just observes. As you imagine your own garden, let this be a gentle offering. Not a set of rules, but a spark, an idea that you might shape into your own version of calm. What we share here at Alia Aesthetic Studio is not instruction, but inspiration. A canvas, not a blueprint. The daisy may find a home in your garden, or it may simply remind you of the beauty you already have. 7. Hidden Heart Woodland Bloom, romantic shaded corners with pink bleeding hearts. Beneath the soft canopy of summer trees, where dappled sunlight filters through in golden patches, a different rhythm unfolds. Slower. More intimate. It's here that Dicentra, often called bleeding heart, begins its quiet bloom. With arching stems that hold heart-shaped flowers, pink, delicate, almost translucent, it speaks not just of beauty, but of tenderness. Each blossom hangs like a secret, gently swaying in the breeze, as if the garden itself were remembering something soft and sacred. There's a poetry in the way Dicentra grows, graceful and curved, never angular or sharp. Its blue-green foliage provides a muted background, allowing the blooms to shine gently, never brash, never loud. Though many believe this plant belongs only in shade, new varieties like pink diamonds defy that rule, thriving in sunlight and blooming longer than expected. With a bit of trimming after its first show, it often returns, another soft cascade of color as summer deepens. Dicentra is a flower for the dreamers. For those who want their gardens to feel like a sanctuary, a place of reflection and wonder. It doesn't demand attention. Instead, it invites you to pause, to notice the small, beautiful things that so often go unseen. What's shared here is not meant to be a perfect formula. It is, as always, an offering of inspiration. A starting point. What you grow and how you grow it should reflect your spirit, not a checklist. Whether Dicentra becomes part of your landscape or simply your imagination, let it guide your hand gently. 8. Golden Glow Meadow Drift, vibrant, sun-soaked coreopsis in natural clusters. Some flowers bring with them the very light of summer, not just in color, but in spirit. Coreopsis, often called tickseed, carries that warmth effortlessly, each bloom like a small sun resting on wiry green stems, reaching gently toward the sky. The petals, soft and slightly ruffled, glow in hues of golden yellow, fiery orange, and rich, rusted red. They don't just brighten the garden, they ignite it. There is an easy joy to this plant. It thrives where the sun is high and the earth is warm. It dances in the breeze, unbothered by heat, content in poor soil, and always ready to bloom again. When the first flush begins to fade, a light pruning is all it asks. Before long, it returns, sometimes stronger, sometimes fuller, but always eager. Coreopsis is for those who love a wild, meadow-like feel in their garden. It doesn't behave in strict lines or stay confined to borders. Instead, it wanders softly, blurring the lines between cultivation and nature. Its feathery foliage gives it a softness, while its non-stop bloom brings energy and life that lasts deep into the season. This flower doesn't ask for much. A sunny patch, a bit of space, and the occasional attention of your hand. In return, it gives and gives again. That exchange, so simple and generous, is part of what makes gardening feel like a quiet miracle. Please take this idea as just that, a possibility, not a prescription. At Alia Aesthetic Studio, what we share is not about perfection. It's about inspiration that flows like a stream through your own creativity. Whether your garden bursts with coreopsis or simply borrows its light and spirit, the choice is, and always should be, yours. 9. Endless Summer Vase Garden, Peruvian lilies designed for long-lasting cut flower beds. There are flowers that hold stories in their petals, bold, radiant, and layered with mystery. The Peruvian lily, or Alstroemeria, is one of those blooms. With trumpet-shaped flowers brushed in fiery orange, deep magenta, and buttery yellow, it seems almost too exotic to be so reliable. Yet this flower thrives with quiet endurance, blooming again and again with a grace that surprises even the seasoned gardener. It stands tall on strong, slender stems, its petals marked with delicate freckles, each bloom a living watercolor. And perhaps its most magical trait lies not in its garden performance, but in the vase. Once cut, Peruvian lilies last for weeks, retaining their brightness long after other flowers have faded, bringing a piece of the garden indoors as a reminder of warmth and color. These flowers enjoy well-drained soil and filtered light, stretching their roots deep to anchor themselves with quiet strength. They are resilient without being aggressive, vibrant without being overwhelming. And with a little love, a trim here, a sip of water there, they bloom again, even as summer days begin to wane. For those who find beauty in longevity and passion in boldness, this flower is a perfect muse. It is both decorative and deeply expressive, a reflection of joy that endures beyond a single season. What we offer here is just that, a spark of an idea. At Alia Aesthetic Studio, our intention is never to instruct, but to inspire, gently, openly, and honestly. The Peruvian lily may grow in your soil or simply grow in your vision. Either way, it remains a symbol of vibrant, lasting beauty in the language of blooms. 10. Pollinator Paradise Heat Garden, Agastache attracting bees and hummingbirds in hot, dry spots. There are certain corners of the garden where the heat settles and the soil cracks, where many plants falter and fade. But in these sun-drenched spaces, something remarkable can bloom. Agastache, often called hummingbird mint, rises proudly through the dry air, its slender spires bursting with tiny tubular flowers that shimmer like flames against dusty green leaves. Its presence hums with life. Bees dance from bloom to bloom, butterflies pause mid-flight, and hummingbirds dip and dart in flashes of color and light. The garden becomes a sanctuary, not just for the plants, but for the creatures it invites. And as these visitors fill the space with movement and sound, Agastache remains rooted, tall and composed, enduring the intensity of summer without complaint. Brush its leaves and a soft mini scent rises, mingling with the sun-warmed earth. It's a fragrance that surprises, gentle and refreshing, a quiet reminder that even in heat, there can be coolness. Its blooms continue well into late summer, and with a careful snip, a second flush is often waiting just beneath the surface, eager to bloom. Agastache doesn't ask for much. Full sun, a patch of well-drained soil, and the occasional sip of water. In return, it creates an ecosystem in motion, a place where energy meets calm and color becomes rhythm. What I share here, as always, is a suggestion, a thread of inspiration you may follow in your own way. Gardens are personal reflections, not replications. You don't need to grow every flower we mention, but perhaps Agastack will call to that part of you that finds comfort in resilience, beauty in wildness, and peace in the presence of nature's tiniest visitors. 11. Sunfire Prairie Coneflower Bed, Echinacea rising boldly among open wild gardens. In the heart of a sun-drenched garden, where shadows are short and the air hums with warmth, there stands a flower that refuses to fade. Echinacea, more commonly known as coneflower, rises tall and bold, its sturdy stems crowned with daisy-like petals that arch around a coppery, spiked center. It looks as if it were born from sunlight itself, each bloom a glowing compass pointing to the sky. But Echinacea is more than a pretty face. It is strength made visible. Its deep roots grip the soil with certainty, thriving in dry heat and thin ground where others might wither. The petals vary, from warm pinks that soften like sunsets to deep, firelit oranges that blaze like late summer bonfires. And long after other blooms have passed, the cone remains, a dark seed head standing firm, promising new life with the coming of spring. Pollinators adore it. Butterflies hover, bees circle, and goldfinches return later for the seeds. With each phase of its life, Echinacea offers something: color, nectar, renewal. Even in fading, it serves the garden. It fits well in borders, in prairies, or in the wild corners of a yard where you've let nature breathe freely. And though it's often left alone, it rewards those who do offer care. A light pruning after flowering can spark another bloom, subtle but sincere. Let this plant be a gentle reminder that beauty isn't always delicate. Sometimes it stands strong, unbent, glowing in the heat and holding on through wind and time. And let this story be what it's meant to be: an idea, not a rule. At Alia Aesthetic Studio, we don't offer prescriptions, only pathways. Your garden will speak its own language. Perhaps in it, Echinacea will have a place to bloom. 12. Cracked Stone Jewel Garden, multicolored wallflowers shining from rocky slopes. Tucked between stones, where the earth is sparse and the sun rests heavily on silent rock, grows a flower that defies its setting. The wallflower, reborn in multicolored splendor, becomes a small but vibrant rebellion in the heart of rugged places. Its roots find home in the cracks, not in rich soil, but in what's been weathered, warmed, and worn by time. From soft spring yellows to the fierce reds and deep royal purples of high summer, these blooms flicker like lanterns in the wind, each one a reminder that color does not need comfort to flourish. Their fragrance is not overwhelming, just enough to notice when the breeze shifts, carrying with it something sweet, slightly spiced, and entirely unexpected. The stems, though slender, stand with surprising strength, balancing grace with persistence. The leaves, a deep glossy green, provide a perfect contrast to the brightness above. And as the sun casts long shadows over stone, the wallflower continues to bloom, again and again, with only a little trimming between each encore. This is not a flower for tidy rows or manicured borders. It belongs to those who let their gardens soften at the edges, who find poetry in moss-covered stone and beauty in asymmetry. It brings wildness to order and light to hard places. What I share here is simply a whisper of possibility, not a command. At Alia Aesthetic Studio, our vision is to inspire your own rhythm, not define it. If your space is structured and smooth, this flower might be the contrast it didn't know it needed. And if your garden is already wild, it may become its most loyal flame. 13. One-Day Magic Lily Trail, vibrant daylilies blooming along winding sunlit paths. In the quiet rhythm of a summer garden, where time feels suspended between morning light and evening hush, daylilies emerge like fleeting sparks of joy. Each bloom opens wide with the sunrise and gently fades with the dusk, lasting only a day, yet never letting the garden fall silent. Because beneath every fading petal, another bud waits, quietly prepared to take its place. Their colors are bold and unafraid. Fiery orange, golden yellow, deep maroon, soft coral, each variety glowing like embers of warmth scattered across a green canvas. The petals, sometimes ruffled, sometimes smooth, unfold with a kind of theatrical elegance, making even the shortest life feel unforgettable. Daylilies are for the gardener who understands that beauty is not in permanence, but in the willingness to appear again and again. Though the flower lives a day, the plant itself blooms endlessly through summer, especially when gently trimmed. It asks only for full sun, good drainage, and the space to stretch its long arching leaves. They are perfect for rocky slopes, sunny borders, and any place where color is welcome but effort must be minimal. Their roots are strong, their foliage dense, and their blooms, brief though they are, feel like daily blessings offered in return for a little trust. This final inspiration, like all the ones before it, is not a formula to follow, but a gift to interpret. Here at Alia Aesthetic Studio, we believe in gardens that reflect the souls who tend them. And in your garden, perhaps daylilies will not just be flowers, but a reminder that life, in its constant cycles, always brings something new to bloom.